Hi, guys. So, a question that's come up again and again and again from new coaches over the time that I've been working with coaches um, is where do I find people to have conversations with? And it's like clockwork. Every month or so, somebody really asks this question, and I think, oh, that's just so obvious, but I forget how, as a new coach, someone who's starting off on this, where do you find people to have conversations with? It really can feel I'm so isolated. I only know so many people. How many parties could I possibly go to? Like, what do you do? So, here are my thoughts on that. There are two avenues um, to take to find people to invite into conversations with you if you're doing things the Prosperous Coach way. One is online and one is in person. So it's up to you which of these you prefer. Generally, what I find everybody does who has a prosperous practice is they do both. They have some mixture of both of these ways of engaging with people, that they deliberately maintain a presence in circles online and in person, deliberately go out and engage and help and serve others. And then when there's some kind of click, they invite them to have a conversation with them. So, where are some of these places, both online and in person? There are so many more than I'm going to say right here, but here are some ideas. In person, I built my coaching practice for the first 3 years, and I got myself to making $6,000 a month or so. It took 3 years to figure out how to do that. I didn't have a coach on my own, so it was a lot of scraping by and just doing it and doing it and doing it. It really was like after the first year that I finally felt like there was a flow with it. It was really uphill. But I was running regular monthly meetups. So I would run 3 events a month. I had a meetup.com page. I would run workshops every now and then. I had a community gathering that was like that got together. It was like $10 suggested donation every week or every other week on top of the events. And I would run, at the time I was working with people around relationships and intimacy and sexuality. So it was all kind of around that topic, and different people would come in, and there I would notice, oh, who really had an experience? Who did I really click with? I'd give everyone an option. If you want to know more about working with me, et cetera, write your name on this paper and I'll get in touch with you the next day. And that was great. I really found clients that way when I was charging not that much in the realm that of relationships and whatnot. I found $500 a month was already a lot for a lot of people. Um, so meetups, right? Things that you are running, things that you are holding, so that people already see you as the leader. Those are really, really ideal, really ideal. And then you also have control in those experiences to have people have an experience around you that they normally wouldn't have on their own, so they get more curious about you. Okay, then there's meetups that you go to, right? Events that you go to, you're not holding them. So you have to come out of yourself a little bit more and engage and say, hi, I'm so and so. Tell me about you. What do you do? What brought you here? Who do you know? And you don't necessarily need to like spam a whole room with your business cards. I don't even have business cards. It might be just 1 or 2 people that you have a little bit of a deeper connection, a little deeper conversation. You guys are hanging out in the corner while the party's going on, talking about some really deep, meaningful stuff. You don't need a million people. You just need 1 or 2 really lovely, interesting, ideal clients, right? So go out and have fun. Go do things that you enjoy. Also, go do things that people who you want to work with are doing. So I found myself hanging out in cigar lounges. I was talking to some really interesting people in cigar lounges. It was really like people who are doing interesting things. I met someone on an airplane traveling to a training or a conference on the airplane. Now I wear my blazer on the airplane because who knows who I'm going to meet. You meet people at parties. You meet people at networking events. You meet people at conferences, at trainings, at sporting events, at, gosh, there's so many, at, Buddhist temples where you go meditate, wherever you go find yourself. Cab drivers. I've invited cab drivers to conversations with me. Cafes, all sorts of fun experiments. Like, how can I talk to 20 people today and invite them to a conversation? I dare you. How can you do that? Make a game out of it. So yeah. But of all of those, leading your own things and then setting the table for them to come have more if they want, or making the invitation there, that was the most powerful. And then conferences where my ideal clients hang out, that was my second most powerful place that I've met clients. Online, it's easy to get really caught up in the online marketing world because we're just bombarded with ads by people who are teaching online marketing about how you have to do online marketing and you got to brand yourself and you have a niche and you have to have this and you have to have that and you have to social media, and it's fun. Social media can be really fun as long as you keep it genuine and real and connected to who you are, and you're not just an empty branded fluff with nothing behind, that you're not actually offering anything of value to anybody. So creating your own groups, like Coaches Light the Grid, where you can engage with people who are looking for what you've got and provide value with them and play with them and get to know them, and they almost feel like your internet family in a way. It's really lovely. A place that you can just give love in your own groups. That is fantastic. I find the group works better than the pages. So they're the business Facebook pages. And maybe I just don't have the energy to build up a following of thousands of subscribers. I used to have a page that had thousands of subscribers, but that was back when the algorithm was in my favor, like 6 years ago. Now you can have a page with lots of subscribers and no one really sees your posts anyway. So it's really hard to engage with your audience because they're not seeing it unless you pay for your posts to be boosted, which you may want to do. If you really have that desire and you feel like I want to go that route, well, then be very deliberate about it with your Facebook page. LinkedIn, I have a client. He is amazing on LinkedIn. He writes wonderful articles. His clients are more CEOs, executives. That's who he wants to work with. They're more on LinkedIn. They're looking to see about how professional are you? If you want to work with professional people, that seems to be the area of the world to be part of. They have groups over there as well. There's a lot of networking that happens in LinkedIn. He ended up doing a search for all of the CEOs and executives in his area, in his zip code, or I forget how he searched for it. And then he reached out to all of them and introduced himself. And he asked them if they'd want to have a conversation with him, a powerful one specifically about them and what their problems might be and how he might be able to help. And a few of them took him up on it, and he created some really beautiful conversations. I would urge you to not just invite people randomly to a conversation out of nowhere, someone you haven't spoken with before. It's like, hey, John Smith, I saw your page. I thought you're awesome. Would you like a conversation? I'm a coach. People will completely ignore you. That is so spammy. You want to develop a relationship first. I mean, you want to check out who this person is too, right? Maybe they're not your people. You can reach out. Hey, I saw you in this group. You said this really interesting thing. I'd love to hear more about that. Or I think this about that thing. Or I saw this article and thought of you. And begin a dialogue. It's a slow process. It's like seduction, or how do you create a relationship with a friend bit by bit at a time? And then there's the magic moment when you invite them. Of course, online there are websites. It's helpful to have a website. People will look you up to see that you have, unless you're someone like Steve Hardison, who's so behind the scenes. He didn't have a website until just a few years ago. Then it is, useful. People will be like, oh, this is a legitimate person with a business. They've invested some money or whatever, got a designer or got a nice Facebook WordPress theme or something. And I can trust them because they're legitimate, because they have a nice website that says who they are and really come across powerfully and genuinely in your website. Some people have blogs. I have a client who has a blog he puts out every Thursday, and he's doing really well in his business, and he gets a lot of his business in that way. He has a newsletter also that he's using, and he's serving so much, meeting people at conferences and doing all the things that we're doing. The blog and the newsletter are almost like an aside. They're an add-on. They're not the main driver. There's so many things coming out now. There's Periscope, there's Blab, there are all these fun ways. YouTube videos. I'm loving this. I'm loving sharing videos with you because I feel like I can really connect more genuinely, and you can feel me, and I'm talking to you as I'm talking to this camera instead of trying to find the right words. And always invite people to speak with you. You know, share something, and then invite them. Hey, and I have this thing going on. Would you like to talk? Some people, maybe a year ago, this kind of started when Rich on EverCoach, he did the 100 Conversation Challenge. And then he had this like cute little paragraph that we modeled off of him. It's like, my coach challenged me to have 100 powerful conversations in the next 30 days. And this is what I really love about coaching, and this is what can happen in these conversations. Would you like to have one of them? And people posted those on Facebook on their main timeline, and a lot of people responded and created conversations that way. Now I've seen that around so much that I think they may have lost a little bit of their oomph. And it doesn't necessarily bring you the most qualified leads if you want to speak salesy wise. It's more people trying to help you out with your challenge. Although sometimes they do come out to be really wonderful clients. Where else online? Write for Medium. If you like to write for Medium, write for Elephant Journal, write for the Huffington Post. Anytime you do anything, write a post about it, show a picture about it. Instagram. I have a client right now who's just killing it on Instagram too, actually, who are creating conversations from Instagram. They're younger. They're speaking to millennials. Those are their client base. And sharing value, beautiful pictures, inspirational quotes, stories from their lives. And also, I have the 100 Days Kindness Challenge, or I have 3 spots open, or I'm doing this really exciting thing. Who would like to join me? So add value. And then make an invitation. Who wants to come and play with me? And make sure that it doesn't sound like a sales pitch. Everything on there, have it come from your heart. Truly, what you're doing, you really care about. Don't forget that piece as you do it a million times and it becomes like this default thing. It's not just a marketing tool. Every bit that you put out there online, make sure you're connected to your heart and your feelings and your why before you put it out there. Okay, that's my spiel. What places that I haven't mentioned have you created conversations? Let's create a big, huge, long list that we can all add to and use as a really great resource down below. Okay, love you.